So here's something I messed around with today. It's the idea of depth velocity profiling. So essentially you're looking at the depth of the movement, so how low I'm squatting down, and the peak velocity or mean velocity, whichever one you choose, or heck, you can even use jump height, power, whatever it might be. I don't care what metric. The idea is you're pairing a key performance metric with a specific depth from which you're jumping from. And the idea behind this is quite simple. You're looking at whether or not, well, a couple of things, but whether or not there's a specific depth that you produce your highest jump height from. And then from there, whether or not that depth is close or not close to the depths in which you perform sporting related movements. Let's use an example. Let's say I do a jump and I use a trap bar, just the bar, 45 pounds. And I jump my highest when I squat all the way down. So let's say 0.5 meters. Now let's say I jump 20 inches, just for easy math. Now, when I go, say, half that, 0.25 meters, I only jump 10 inches. So there's a 50%, or I guess, 1/2 reduction in my performance. Now, with that information, you can do two things. One, you can look at whether or not that is a large difference, right? How big the magnitude of difference is. Is it 10 inches? Is it 3 inches? Maybe if I jump 17 versus 20, I have a good capacity to jump from multiple depths at a relatively near maximal height. But also, can my training modify that? So this is something like the length-tension relationship. And your ability to produce force at different lengths, and your ability, well, instead of using force, you could say tension at those lengths. So the idea, again, would be then to say, I don't produce any jump height at all when I have a really minimal knee bend, but I produce a lot when I go all the way down. Well, in sport, you're going to have to do movements where you might not be able to bend all the way down. And so that's where you might say, well, I want to work on improving my capacity or my ability to jump high, but from these shorter knee angles. So an interesting concept and something that I don't ever see talked about, discussed. Heck, you could even study it very easily by doing a depth velocity, depth power profile on an individual, and then track whether or not you can have specific changes. And even better, or even more fun, you could say, you could draw a corollary between that and your ability to maybe do movements like drop jumps and depth jumps, which innately have shorter ground contact times and more, minimal knee angle bend. And whether or not people who exert a specific performance at a smaller joint angle are also able to show that in a depth jump, which becomes more dynamic, but still uses those smaller joint angles. So I hope that makes sense. I appreciate you guys for listening. I hope you enjoy. As always, take care. And if you guys like this stuff, feel free to subscribe and share. Thanks. Bye.